Yeah, no, I mean, that exactly. And, being a young kid, I mean, first of all, I think the biggest thing that kind of drew me to Boston was when I used to play NHL. I always thought the B and the Bears and everything was pretty cool. But then the other thing is they're a team that you always see on TV a lot. And I wasn't really paying too much attention because I didn't watch it too much. But when I did, it seemed like they were always around. And so, I mean, they were a team that I watched a lot, even though I didn't watch much hockey. Yeah. Because when it came playoff time and stuff, I mean, they were always in it. So it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll root for them because they seem to be shown on TV a lot. Right. So, I mean, because I live out west, so I don't get to, if the team sucks, you don't watch them. I mean, that's essentially what it is here. Like Oklahoma City, for instance, this season, I mean, be damned to watch a game because they're not going to be put on TNT. They're not going to be put on NBA on whatever the hell channel, ESPN. You're not going to show that. Are you kidding me? So anyway, I mean, it's just with it being Boston, I was like, oh, wow, okay, well, I like this team. I like everything about them. And I mean, they were easy to root for because, I mean, hell, I mean.
Well, no, you just see what the power of television is, right? I mean, that was the great, I mean, it wasn't the great thing, but I mean, that was such a power play that the Atlanta Braves used to do. I mean, you couldn't watch baseball, but what would you do, right?
Yep.
TBS, right? You turn on TBS, guess who's on?
Oh, yeah.
The Atlanta Braves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were always on TV, so that's how, that's how they got a following, right? Because you just flip it on and go, oh, I wonder what the Braves are doing today. I mean, you might not even, like I said, you're not even a Braves fan, but guess what?
You can watch them.
It's live baseball, right? Or I'm going to watch it.
They showed the Braves more than they showed the Giants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were actually, with TBS, we were actually watch more games than we were able to watch the Giants or A's.
Yeah,
TBS around here.
Yeah,
TBS and TNT.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly, and I'm living proof of that because I mean that's essentially what it was. I had no idea where these teams were from at the time. I was just like, hey, this team gets shown a lot, so I guess I'll root for them because some of these other teams that looking at it now, I'm like, oh wow, that's a really cool team, or I really like their logo. Well, if I would just go by how much they're shown on TV, I wouldn't even know these teams existed. I mean, there's some teams in the league up until maybe last year, I couldn't even tell you where they were from. That's how often I see them on TV around here. I couldn't even tell you where they were from or what their name was, So, I mean, as a kid, I was like, oh, this team gets shown all the time. So if I want to watch their games, I can usually watch it. So it's easy to root for. So I'm like, oh, hey, okay, I'll go with them because I get to actually watch them as opposed to, rooting for some of these other teams where, unless you live right next to it, you never get to see them. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, call it bandwagoning if you want, I guess. But, from my perspective, I didn't really know any better at the time. So, and then once I kind of decided that I liked them, I just stuck with them. So.
And especially with hockey, I mean, even when hockey's in full season, they don't show that much hockey to begin with. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's one of the least known sports, really.
Yep.
And especially on the West Coast here, it's like you just don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got San Jose not too far away. We got, the Knights.
In our state, literally.
Right. And I mean, you can't hardly find a game.
Yeah, well, because that's the genius of television around here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you think that you would want to get the state itself to have every broadcast available, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that should have been,
especially with a pro team.
Yeah, that should have been that should be the first thing of that NSN, right? Was to do what? Be able to feed the hockey games in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get whatever Raider stuff that you can get in.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You build a brand and it builds the whole state, just not Vegas.
Yeah.
The whole state of Nevada is not just Vegas; it's the whole state, right?
Yeah, no better example than how we get the frickin' Warriors and the Giants shoved down our throats. You can't do anything without those games, like, eat it. It's like, God, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Which it should be the total river should be Sacramento, right?
Yeah,
They should be stuffing Sacramento stuff, truthfully, until Vegas gets their team.
Yeah, well, that's
but
true.
You know what I mean. That's what it should be, right? It should be the local stuff. That way, it gets you get a fan base again, aka like the Braves did, right? But theirs was on a national stage. I mean, because again, guess what? People see them all the time. And guess what they do? They start learning names. They start learning, how the game's played, X, Y, Z, And guess what? They become fans and get a following on it.
Yep.
And especially if they're good.
Uh-huh.
You know?
No, and
Which the Knights are a perfect example of why.
Right.
Why wouldn't you? This should be a given. We shouldn't see anything San Jose. Truthfully. It should be all Kings. Or Knights, I mean.
Yeah.
Should be all Knight stuff.
Yeah, especially right now. Yeah. No, I mean, and that's the biggest thing, too, is especially around here. I mean, I didn't grow up in an area where we had a sports team. I mean, the closest one that we had was the Kings, which were never talked about. They basically get thrown aside for the Warriors.
You can't even buy any apparel for the Kings.
Well, they weren't even. Yeah, I mean, when the Kings were good, they still weren't even thought of around here.
No,
everybody was worried about the Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then on the football side, it's all 49ers and Raiders, which I didn't have any interest in that. So it was like, well, I'll just pick one. And for hockey and stuff, I mean, again, it really comes down to the fact that I don't ever, even the teams that are around here, you don't ever really get to watch them because they don't show them on TV. And unless you pay for the sports package or whatever, you can't even see games most nights. Yep. So, I mean, they really kind of dropped the ball on that one a little bit. And as a result, I'm going to watch the team that I get to see a lot. And that's how I basically became a Bruins fan. Mm-hmm. They showed, even the limited times I got to watch hockey, 3/4 of the time it was the Bruins on. Because they always get shown, and it's because it's a big market. I know that, but I'm just saying, they were always on. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I'll get to watch them. Yeah. So there we go. Well, again, that's how I got to be a Bruins fan.
The ESPN thing, right? It's where, the Rangers sucked and the Islanders sucked.
Yeah.
So who else they're going to show in the Northeast? Well, Boston.
Yeah.
Right?
So. Exactly. And, I mean, that really basically decided my team for hockey was that and that alone. If I would have seen, like, the Columbus Blue Jackets, I mean, I think that team is freaking awesome. Mm-hmm. If I had to do it again, I would pick them. Or Seattle. I mean, I think that team looks pretty cool. I like the logo and everything. But if I had to do it right now and just start over and say, who's your favorite team? I would pick Columbus. I think they're really cool. I like the logo. I just really like that team. So, but, I mean, trust me, with the football stuff, there's nothing drawing me to black and yellow. Because, I'm not a huge Steelers fan, so it's definitely not the color combination. It's not Bennett with the uniforms. So,
it's a tough game, though.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, but yeah, I think we've probably extended this video long enough. Yep. Thank you guys for watching and listening to us rant and rave about these teams.
But you learn something about hockey if you're not a hockey fan, right? At least it gives you a little bit of history, right?
Yeah, exactly.
From Hockey Town to, to Willville.
Yeah. And you got a new perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
From what most people would call a bandwagoner.
Yeah, or whatever. So, that's with it. But again, it also shows you, a little bit of geographics and how influential, TV is and what you get on, what you don't get on, and how you can alienate a region when you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, and that goes right now. I mean, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to watch every Knights game.
Yep.
Every game should be on TV.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be accessible. And it's not. It's not.
No, you have to.
Yeah, because again, if we weren't able to have NHL Network or these other networks, nobody knows what the hell's going on with the Knights until everybody talks about it like, oh, they're in the playoffs again, and then everybody goes, oh, okay, because then it becomes NBC's channel, and then everybody goes, oh, okay, I can watch it on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and that's the other thing is that come playoff time, they were always in it too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, a lot of these other teams, you can't watch them the whole season, and then they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, they go away.
I don't even know who they are. I mean, Ottawa, I couldn't have, up until last year, when I started, probably sooner than last year, when I started doing some research because I knew we were doing this channel, was when I was like, oh, Ottawa's the Senators. Oh, okay. Because they're never in anything, let alone on TV.
No.
They suck. I mean, they're horrible. So if they're not on in the playoff time and they're not getting shown anyways, when are we going to see them? We're not. As simple as that. And if the Bruins are against them or somebody, well, there's a more competitive game. So they're not going to show it here. So it's just, It's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. So.
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of teams you don't hear of now, but another team that was pretty much the pinnacle now is, even Montreal.
Yep.
I mean, you talk about, that's like I guess we could say the Dallas Cowboys, I guess, would be kind of the closest thing to them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were Canadians' team, right? Mm-hmm. And then now they're just poof. You don't even hear anything.
I was going to say, I would have known.
No, I'm just saying that how that the landscape has changed in hockey.
Yeah.
So much that, like I said, that team was a perennial winner.
I wouldn't have known.
I mean, where you say Boston comes in and gets playoffs, they were winning cups. I mean, that was. Yeah. I mean, that was just like, oh, Montreal didn't win the cup. Oh, how the hell did that happen? Yeah. So again, the same thing with it. It's just how the landscape changes. But it just popped to me when you were talking about this. I was like, man, talk about another team that's been like you said, rebuilding since X, Y, and Z year, right? You're just like the Canadians. Yeah. Just like, whew.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, with the limited amount that I've watched hockey over the years, I wouldn't have known that was the case.
Yeah.
They've sucked for as long as I've been paying attention.
No, like I said,
would have never known.
You wouldn't have known it.
No, yeah, I had no idea that they had years where they were upwardly. I had no idea. I'm finding out about it right now, live on camera. I'm serious. I had no idea that was the case. So. Yeah, but anyway, if you guys like
the NHL has not done a very good job, in my opinion, of marketing itself.
No.
Over the years, I mean, there's nothing when you actually watch hockey. I mean, it's one of the more entertaining sports you're gonna see. Constant movement, constant action.
Yeah, there's not that many breaks.
No, and there's fighting involved, which attracts them.
Yeah.
The brutal, the brute.
The savage side.
That crowd.
And then like you said, for the most people, and or at least if you're even just the skill set that these guys have to do is just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, be able to skate forward, backwards, control puck, XYZ passes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, if you actually just watch the sport, it's you say beautiful sport. It's just amazing. It's amazing. That skill level on most of these guys are just off the charts.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh wow, look, he's running up the field. Okay, I can do that too.
Yeah,
it's just I don't want to get hit.
Yeah, you're on
but
blades.
You're on blades. I mean, everybody. A lot of you guys know how hard it is to skate. I mean, I suck at ice skating. I can't even stay on my feet, let alone go backwards.
You got pucks coming at you at 100 miles an hour. I mean, you got guys diving in front of them, going, "Okay, let me take this one."
And you got big dudes hitting you,
right? Constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's contact sport personified. I mean,
yeah, and I wasn't even jumping to play dodgeball. You know what I mean?
Can you dodge a wrench?
Yeah, exactly. How about we make the thing that's hitting you like 10 times harder and it's coming at you 50 times faster? How does that sound? Yeah. No thanks. Yeah. And they're trying to hit you when you don't have it.
I mean, I agree with Don. I mean, if you look at it strictly from
entertainment,
right, and the talent that is involved in it, I mean, the hockey is as good a sport as there is.
Yeah, I agree.
Truthfully, I really believe it. And, I mean, there's not much more fun to watch than a good hockey game.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, and especially the live experience, too, right?
We constantly are, I mean, to me, like, hockey's just done a poor job of marketing itself. And, I mean, they've never been on... I mean, for that brief time when they were on ESPN, I think it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the best it's ever been. But they've never been on, like, major television very often. I mean, they're on NBC, I guess, on Saturdays or something now? But, I mean, to me, this should be something that's being shown every night. There's good games every day. That, I mean, they could put on some network, like, Fox Sports or something should be carrying it. So where you can watch this stuff, like, rather than having to have the Dish Network or pay for the NHL.
Or NBC, the alternate NBC.
Right. You have to pay for all these channels in order to get any of it.
Yep.
And so, I mean, and that's what the good thing with football has been, is one of the reasons it's accessible.
Mm-hmm.
They show it on TV, they show it on prime time, they show it where people can actually watch it even if they don't have cable.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, when you do that...
Yeah, that's how pretty much I think basketball's hanging on to whatever they have.
Yeah.
is because it is on a consistent weekend basis, and they flood it with a bunch of games, right? That's where baseball misses, right? Because they just go, oh, here's Saturday for you, and it'll be on at 11 o'clock if you want to watch it. And then hockey, there's not, well, except for the Saturday or Sunday, game that comes on.
Yeah.
But by that time, most people aren't even,
No.
into it, because there's either golf or horse racing or something else going on.
Or basketball.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's
No,
always
and
something else that's going on.
And they haven't even done a very good job of marketing their stars.
No.
Most people couldn't tell you who half the players are.
No.
I couldn't.
You know what I'm saying? Most people wouldn't be able to tell you who the stars are in hockey.
Yeah,
which is really sad.
Yeah,
because
which you don't know.
It's. You just can't follow it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, seriously, outside of my team, I could list some of the obvious ones, Sidney Crosby and some of these guys that have been around for a while, but I couldn't tell you a person on the Senators. I couldn't tell you a person on pretty much most of these teams. And if it wasn't for, Quick or my brother being a Kings fan, I probably couldn't tell you anybody on that team either. So, just as kind of like a person up until this point that was just casually watching, you don't hear about these people. Maybe the Ovechkins, the Crosbys, and the one...
Well, those are the only ones that they market, per se.
Yeah.
That's the big ones.
Exactly.
And even that
but there's 10 or 15 guys that are just equally as good.
Yeah. But I couldn't list them.
Yeah.
I couldn't list them though.
Yeah, you could. But
like I said,
tell me the third string running back on some football team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
I said, you Patrick Kane's, your, like I said, Jonathan Tays, your Nathan McKinnon's,
Yeah. No, exactly.
Are those guys still playing? I don't even
know.
know.
I'm just saying, like you said, that's the reason most people wouldn't say who.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No.
Only reason I know McKinnon is because I've watched some Avs games with you. Otherwise, I wouldn't know him either.
Exactly. But you're looking at, some of the best hockey players in the world.
Yeah, exactly. But, and he said it best too, right? I could list the depth chart.
Yeah.
In football for a lot of these teams.
Yeah.
I could tell you every quarterback on the roster, but I couldn't tell you the star on a hockey team.
That to me speaks volumes to how poor the marketing's been for that league. Mm-hmm. Hockey, if you look at purely what the sport is and how entertaining it is, it should be one of the top sports in America. Mm-hmm. Bar none. It should be. It's entertaining as hell.
Well, you
the games don't go so long.
Yeah, and you don't have the 100 yards like soccer, and actually...
The transition is back and forth.
Yeah, and then these guys get hit. They actually get hit. They don't flop.
Yeah.
Like soccer players.
No, the game's a fast pace, so it keeps... the pucks, you're constantly trying to follow where that's at. Mm-hmm. There's so many positives in hockey that I think the average American that's sitting at home watching television would turn on and tune in if they would just give it a chance.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Hell.
The league needs to fucking step up. Who is it? Bettman?
Yeah, that's the reason everybody hates him, probably too.
Yeah.
Right? That's the reason they always boo him, right?
Gary Bettman, probably the worst fucking.
Yep.
He's the worst.
Yeah. Well, it says it all. They say baseball is America's sport. You give me the choice between sitting there at home watching a baseball game and hockey, not even a competition.
Yeah.
Baseball, I'm more likely to fall asleep than to watch the whole game from start to finish. That's a chore.
Yeah.
That's a chore. You know what I mean? To sit through a whole baseball game, it's like, okay, I'm going to need some coffee, some beer, something to get me through this. Hockey, I could sit through 3 games in a row.
And that's just a regular season game. When you get the playoff hockey, it ratchets it up to a whole nother level that's
it's
unmatchable.
It's almost, you can't take your eyes off it type stuff, where baseball, even in playoff time, it's like, okay, this is taking how long now?
Exactly.
When's the NASCAR race on? Okay. Yeah. So, that says it all right there. The fact that baseball is, you can have baseball and all these people are watching baseball, but hockey you can't find a game or whatever. But I can watch a Giants game. I can watch the Giants doubleheader, but I can't even watch any form of a freaking hockey game when I want to, unless I have the network or something. And a lot of people, they don't want to pay that. And the other part of it is that a lot of people are getting away from cable anyways. So not only are you only getting a certain part of people that are buying cable and stuff now, but with all the streaming services and stuff like that, people aren't even doing that. I mean, I can't tell you the number of friends that I have that said, oh yeah, we just have Netflix and Disney Plus now. You know what I mean? I know so many people that that's the case for. They're like, I'm not paying that outrageous price, let alone buying the sports package so that they can see an NHL game every night. They're not doing that. No way. They won't even pay the cable regularly.
But I mean, I think most people would, if they had opportunity to see it, and actually where they took time to actually say, okay, let's put this on ABC tonight. I think the popularity would go through the roof because a lot of people that don't know about hockey, they're not going to be interested in buying a package when they don't even know what the hell they're looking at. You know, I mean, most people couldn't tell you what icing is.
I couldn't.
Any of the penalties.
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, even like a Thursday night game.
Right.
Just like the football did, right? Thursday night. Well, put a Thursday night hockey game on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, it's just so bad that the NHL is taking the approach they've taken. And then they wonder why, they're struggling to get viewership. Well, you're not putting it out anywhere.
Yeah, it seems like they're more interested in making more teams than they are in making these teams accessible to be seen.
It's still the thing. I mean, if you walk around if you talk about the Seattle Krakens, everybody would be like, who? What the hell's that?
Oh, Seattle has a hockey?
Yeah, they've actually got to finally. You know what I mean? Most people would be like, what?
Yeah, they wouldn't. You'd be telling them.
Well, it's the same thing with the Knights, right? I mean, those people, even in Nevada, didn't even whatever.
Who?
You know what I mean?
What is that? Are they pro or are they?
Yeah. But again, they've been successful, and so people know about them now, right? So again, when you win, it helps a lot. But again, the same thing. It's just like
they're winning, and we still can't see.
Yeah, exactly. It was the same thing here. With San Jose, right? Another good franchise that's always in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Most of the time, and most people didn't even know about the Sharks either. So
yeah.
Well, it's to me, it's just a travesty of that it's this poor.
Well,
because the product is as good as it's ever been.
Yeah. No, I mean the talent levels is 100% better than what it was in the 90s for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean the talent level is awesome. I mean the product on its own is just awesome. I mean it's nothing but fun to watch.
Yep.
And I mean to me they could captivate a nation if they just decided to do so.
Yep.
Put it out there.
Yep. Well, and then the funny thing is that then you turn on Sports Center and they'll take up 15 minutes showing you highlights, but you can't find, there's never a game on ESPN of hockey.
I mean, they're having like WNBA highlights before even NHL. You know what I mean? It's just like that game is completely different from NHL. NHL is much better. You know what I mean? It's
No, it's horrible.
Yeah, and like I said, unfortunately, most people, like you said, don't have the time to sit here and actually watch it. And if they actually, like you said, concentrated and was able to watch it for like a week, they probably start going, okay, you know what, this actually isn't too bad. This is actually pretty entertaining.
The game goes by quick.
Yep.
Because of how fast paced it is.
Yep, and then like I said, even the 20-minute intermissions don't seem like they're that long.
No,
and especially if you're doing things and stuff. 20-minute intermission is nice.
Which is great, right? You can go do something, right? You can go, hey,
eat
come back
dinner.
Here.
Yeah, exactly. You're not like, crap, I'm going to miss the whole damn...
They're totally missing the boat, I mean, on this.
Yeah, but I mean, if I wanted to watch, Syracuse basketball, for college basketball, I can't turn on that channel without watching a basketball game, but, here we are, you have to literally search through the guide
to find a pro game.
To find a pro hockey game of any kind. I mean, otherwise you basically are toast. You're not watching it.
I mean, and they're basically living off guys signing up for the NHL network. I mean, that's basically how you're following hockey these days.
Yep.
And it's just, to me, it's just sad because I mean, hockey's got such a great product. The teams are awesome. A lot of great sports cities in hockey. I mean, especially like Canada-wise, you go up there in Toronto and these places.
Yep.
I mean, just great hockey towns, just awesome. I mean, the fans of hockey are awesome. You know, you won't find a more rabid bunch of fans than hockey's going to offer you. You know, and I mean, it's just, to me, it's just they're totally missing the boat. And you can only look at the ownership, or not so much the ownership, but the management of the league, and point fingers. To me, I mean, they're just not doing the job.
Yeah.
If this, I mean, I will say, like, you know, what's his name gets a lot of criticism for football. What's the guy's name?
Goodell.
Yeah. Goodell gets a lot of criticism, but he keeps that league relevant all the time. There's always something going on, always something in the news, always something out there. You know, if he was the guy in hockey, hockey'd be in a lot better place right now. I really believe it. I'm not saying Goodell is perfect. He's not. But I'm just saying from, you know, the standpoint of understanding what people want, I mean, he's got that idea. He knows what that's about. And I think that's what hockey needs. They need somebody in there that can take it to the next level, get people interested in watching. Because it doesn't really take you that long to watch a game, and it goes fast-paced.
Yeah.
And it's not a boring watch.
No, I mean, the fact, I mean, like you said with Goodell, I mean, you know, the fact that, you know, there's a potential, you know, trade or whatever about Deshaun Watson right now, and that whole situation has, I mean, that's more relevant than the mid-season hockey right now. You know what I mean? You'll hear 25 minutes about that, and then, oh, by the way, the Islanders played the Flyers, and the Knights beat this team, and the Sharks beat this team. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about Carson Wentz. Yeah. You know, I mean, literally, that's what it is. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
No, that's what
it's off-season football, and it takes the whole freaking radio show or whatever, where the hockey is just like oh, by the way, yeah, there was a hockey going on. I mean, that's where it's at. That's how bad it is. And, you know, like I said before, too, I mean, I'm not somebody that has been an avid hockey watcher. You know, he was, or I can't remember which one of them, but, you know, one of them was talking about, you know, offsides and icing and stuff. I fit into that category. I have no idea what icing even is. And part of it is that I haven't really devoted and taken the time in years past to watch it. But like we said, part of it is I haven't had access to it, to be honest, because unless it's on at a certain time on a Saturday or something, and even on those times, there's usually other stuff on that I do pay attention to that I'd rather watch. So as a result, I mean, the few times that I even can watch a game, I'm usually watching something else that, you know, has my interest and I know more about. Because I can't find I can't just scroll through any day and say, oh, look, there's a hockey game. Let me turn that on. So, I mean, it's not even just me not wanting to watch it. It's hard to. So
no, it's totally
that's
true.
everything.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like you said. I mean, you know, you wouldn't have known the Colorado Rockies were actually a hockey team before they were a baseball team. You know, so Bussy Bidrich. Again, but no, I mean, they became the New Jersey Devils. So again, it's the same. You know, like you wouldn't have known X, Y, and Z if you didn't follow it at anything with it. But again, it's the same thing that you're sitting here, you just go, wow, okay, that's interesting. You know, that's on there. So no, it's like I said, it's a great sport, and like I said, if more people actually take the time to find it, and you'll enjoy it.
It could easily turn into the second best sport in America.
Yeah, easily.
It could. And maybe even in some regards.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, because you don't usually have all the rejects like you do in the football league.
Right. I mean, I was going to say, in some regards, you could probably take over the top spot.
Yeah.
If it was marketed better.
Real easy.
I mean.
Because you actually have people that are actually like more down to earth, and they seem to be regular people. Mm-hmm. I mean, you usually don't see unless they have the the cup in their possession, but. You know, like Ovechkin, I think he was already hammered with the cup. You know that one. That's what it. But I mean, that's about the only time you see something. And they're like, oh, okay, but that was what celebratory, right? They're like, that's a celebration. That's what you're supposed to do with it, right? Yeah. Is have fun with it. But yeah, like I said, you just don't have the object. It just they're missing a huge opportunity with this sport.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and you talk about a sport that kind of fits the common man, this is it. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you don't have guys looking like Tom Brady out here on the
No.
ice.
Well, there's
I
a
mean-
few, but
I mean, very few.
there's a few, but yeah, most of them are goons and missing teeth.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like these are. I mean, this is the blue collar right here.
Yeah.
This is the blue collar sport.
Yeah,
You know, we come to work, we beat each other's ass,
Yeah.
then go have a beer afterwards.
yeah. Oh no, like I said, and you talk about usually, and I know most of the times, it's brutal and it's in your face, but what's the thing, especially in the playoff time, that they always do, right? Whenever the series is over, what do? They all line up and shake each other's hand.
Yep.
And the thing, it's classy. It's sportsmanship.
Mm-hmm.
To the tens, right?
Yeah.
No matter if you've gone through a 4-game sweep or you went tooth and nail through Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
It ends up. Guess what you do? You get in the line, and shake each other's hand. It's unbelievable. Great sport. So.
No, I agree. Man, that was a tangent.
But it's good though. But except for people that might not know about hockey, this. Thanks for listening to this, and hope you picked up at least something from it.
Yeah.
And please
Check out games.
go watch games. Find them anywhere, even if it's this NBC one on Saturday, because that usually is. But go find them if you can.
Find what you can find.
And you will become a fan. And just watch any of them. I mean, it could be, the horrible Ottawa Senators versus the Montreal Canadiens, but you'd find something.
Yeah, no,
To redeem with
you'll
it.
be entertained.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what level of team it is. You'll be entertained. It's fast moving. It's got a lot of skill as far as guys using being able to work the puck around, and they shoot it at a high speed and very accurately for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you watch when they have the All-Star Weekend and stuff. I mean, those guys are shooting pucks in the small little areas, hitting plates and all this kind of stuff. It's amazing how accurate they are, and how fast they're shooting it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you will not be disappointed if you haven't watched hockey. There's just so much good about it, and it's unfortunate that they've done such a poor job of putting it out there. Because I think most people, given an opportunity to watch it, would probably tune in and say, "Man, this was really good. I didn't realize hockey was like this."
Yep.
Yeah.
And like Don said earlier, I mean, the sport's never really been. I mean, the talent level's never been better.
Yep.
From top to bottom, I mean, you got great players playing.
On several teams,
Right.
Because it used to be like the NBA, where it was just like you would have these powerhouses,
Yep.
and then they would dominate the sport for so long, and then you would get another powerhouse to take its place.
Yeah.
But now it's just, I mean, you can find at least one or two superstars at a minimum on most teams.
Yep.
Yeah.
I fully agree. I think it's a travesty the way they've ran this league. I think somebody else should take it over and do something with it. Let somebody that's got some money say, "Okay, let's do this. Let's really do hockey the way it should be done." And I mean, because they have their stars, but most people don't know who they are.
No.
It's just not broadcasted enough. It's not shown, and it's like Don said earlier. It's like, you're watching basketball, women's basketball highlights before they'll show an NHL, and not taking anything away from women's basketball.
No, as I said,
it's great. I love women's basketball as well, but I mean, NHL should be like a prime sport.
Yeah.
And it's just not. It's an afterthought, like Bryson said. It's an afterthought.
Yeah, I mean, it gets shuffled behind off-season football news. I mean, it really
Right.
does.
I mean, we're in the off season of football, and they'll talk a half hour about that, and show 5 minutes of hockey highlights.
Yeah. They're worried about projecting where,
Deshaun Watson or
J.J.
something.
Watt just talked to somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares?
Exactly, and it's
know?
like we've been hearing the same, Deshaun Watson trade rumors for the last
Yeah.
month or so, and he hasn't gone anywhere, but that's still going to be talked about before we hear any news about a potential anything in hockey.
Yeah. Well, no, like I said, they'd rather talk about speculation instead of actually things happening,
Yeah, exactly.
which is weird.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and kudos to Goodell for realizing what he's got.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be Einstein to figure out.
No, I mean, that
but-
was just like the idiot that was in NBA, right? He knew what he he knew what he had with, the Birds, the Magics, the Jordans. He knew what he had, and he rode the gravy train. And now that's gone, and now whoever that Spock-looking guy is,
Adam Silver or whatever,
the alien. I don't know. He just looks like a weirdo. Yeah, he just looks a little freakish to me. But now he's running it, and it's just like, okay, well, whatever's running it is running it. But
I mean, even they have done a much better job of marketing Stars than has the NHL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally could maybe list.
Like, I mean, I was gonna say, I don't know about. I mean, it's just LeBron is what they run everything through. You know what I mean? You know, and Steph and with that, but.
I mean, for probably the people that don't really pay attention to basketball, I would think you could probably name about as many people as maybe you could hockey, or as I can name hockey for Stars. But I mean, even so, I can watch basketball a lot easier than I can watch hockey. So if I was at all interested, I'd be able to find out a hell of a lot faster than I would with hockey. Because even this season, when I've been trying to watch more of it, I still have no idea who 3/4 of these teams. 3/4 of these teams, I could not list a player. I not the goalie, nothing. I couldn't even list a star. Yeah. And some of them, the only reason I can is because they've been around for ages. I mean, other than that, shoot.
But
Sue me.
That is exactly what our point is.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the point. That hockey's done such a miserable job that you're a sports fan and you still have no idea, who any of these people are or what team they play for, or, can you even list the positions on the ice?
No, I can't. I honestly can't.
Outside of the goalie.
No.
Right? So my point is that how bad is it that they've done such a horrible job of marketing that you can't even tell what you're looking at? You have no idea what the positions are, what the rules of the game are, any of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I understand some of the basic things, but I have the hockey game, and I mean, I get called for icing and stuff all the time, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing that's causing that? I have no idea. So I'm just kind of like, oh crap, that stupid offsides again. Why am I doing that? Why do I keep getting called for that? What is it? I don't understand. So, I mean, and I'm trying to watch it more, and like I said, I've picked up a lot more things than I, knew even as soon as a year ago. So I've had a great time watching it, but even so, I mean, some of these other sports, I could tell you what a lot of these things are, and I watch them as much, if not less, than hockey. So it is what it is, but
it's great. I mean, hockey's got so many things that are good about it, and I mean, it's very captivating once you start watching it. I mean, you keep watching it because there's always action. Something's going on constantly.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So
yeah, like I said, it's not like baseball where you sit there and you're like, oh my God, come on. We're only in the 6th inning? What the heck? I feel like I sat through a game and a half. Seriously.
No, exactly.
Seriously.
Well, and I mean, now that I opened up a can of worms on the NHL, right? No. But, I mean, truthfully, what we're talking about, everything that's been said here is true. I mean, there's no way
like I said, even Bryson doesn't even know the rules per se, and guess what he does? He still enjoys it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How many times can you sit there that people go, I don't understand football. Oh, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't understand hockey, but I like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
Like you said, it's a beautiful game.
Yeah.
It's just if people would actually find it and look for it, and then if people would actually market it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the whole
thing.
I
mean, and that's the key that's how people got into baseball, right? How did people get in boxing? Right? I mean, boxing was on TV all the time.
Yep.
On the weekends back in the day.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have to pay to see it.
And that's the reason nobody's watching boxing anymore, because guess what? Who cares, right? Because nobody knows anybody.
No, and everything's pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That's the other problem.
Yeah, anybody that you do know.
See it.
Anybody that you do know, they know you know, so they're going to make you pay $70. It's like,
okay. Unfortunately, it's the bad side of sports.
Yep. Yeah. So, But anyway, that was quite a tangent. But you know, it ended up being a really nice thing. You know, thank you guys for watching.
Sound the horn for the notifications, right?
Send it in on the notification button.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't get any icings on the way.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. But anyways, if you like what you see, make sure you hit the like button. You know, leave your comments about, you know, anything that we talked about. If your team is on there and you want to tell me some of the players on it, I probably won't know who they are. So, you know, educate me a little bit.
You look them up, right?
Yeah.
Give you an idea of who.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'll look them up. But anyway, yeah, and then, you know, build a little wall around that notification button. And, yeah, so, Bryson.
Steve.
I'm done.
We'll see you guys in next week's hockey upload video.